Despite the intense controversy generated by the same faith ticket produced by the All Progressives Congress for the next year's elections, governors of the party are confident that they have good grounds to campaign. Governors of the party, led by the chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum, Atiku Bagudu of Kebbi State, gave the assurances on Monday. The governors met with President Muhammadu Buhari in Daura, his hometown. Take a look.
Presidential flag bearer of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, picked former Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima as his running mate on Sunday and now has a fight on his hands to convince Nigerians that his choice is in their interest. It will take some convincing, but governors on the platform of the APC have enlisted to sell the ticket.
We have had a successful national convention which has produced in a very, very transparent manner a presidential flag bearer as Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and we note that yesterday he was here for the Salah homage at an occasion which he also used to name the vice presidential nominee in the person of Senator Kashim Shettima. We congratulate you and we congratulate our party. Mr. President, the members of this forum would like to assure you that we will work very, very hard to ensure the success of our party.
And they believe, based on the legacies laid by President Muhammadu Buhari, the task has been made easier.
We are confident that as we go around Nigeria to campaign for our party under your leadership, we believe Nigerians will trust us and Nigerians will appreciate that, even where the outcomes are less than what we had hoped, that we have done well.
But President Buhari is not concerned merely about the campaign. One of the things he's very worried about is the generational consequences of the prolonged strike of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, on families, the educational system, and the future development of the country.
The institutions we have, like ASU, will sympathize with the country and the people. There's nothing wrong with showing the government and the leadership that you don't like what they are doing, but enough is enough. Don't hurt the next generation, for goodness sake. So those of you who have friends that are teachers and influential or even not influential, please persuade them to go back to classes.
The president is already waxing whimsical about returning to Daura next year. He says he's eager to go, admits it has been tough, and wishes the person coming after him the very best. Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
All right, still on the APC. Now, the selection of former Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima as running mate of the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has continued to dominate discourse in the northeast part of the country. Adamu Imam reports that the zone is awash with people opposing and also supporting the choice of the ex-governor on various grounds. The report.
In Bauchi State, residents are not left out of the news that has dominated both official and unofficial commentaries, as they took side or disagree with the APC's choice of running mate. In my own opinion, he is not the best choice because he failed his people when he was a governor. Now that he has been selected as running mate, he will be far away from his people. In fact, he is not fit for that position.
Religion is the one bringing all these problems. But if we take ourselves together to be one, then everybody will understand that. But Nigeria doesn't understand that.
All Nigeria is supposed to know that this people are supposed to know everybody. For how many years? More than 60 years. Igbo man have not. Let's keep sentiment apart, but let's look for it. All Nigerians do not follow parties. Do not follow parties. Let's vote someone that is going to assist us. People are suffering. People are suffering.
At the core of the discussion is the religious affiliations of both candidates. However, Some are quick to dismiss this on the basis of competence, which they say should not be traded for religious learning. We need competent people to lead us to greater height. The choice of Shettima as running mate is a good one, and we pray that they will win the 2023 presidential election. If they eventually win the election, we want them to bring the needed change for Nigerians. They are very good candidates, but let them tell Nigerians their plans for the country. I know Kashim Shettima. He is a very good man and a man of his word. They can do better together. We are going to help them win. Our votes are for them wholeheartedly. As the furore over Shettima's emergence continues, politicians say the best way to express approval or not of his candidature is in casting vote in the presidential election of 2023. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Well, there you have it. Quite an interesting package there by Adamu Imam from Bauchi State. This issue about the running mate of the APC flag bearer has generated a lot of interest. And so we have in the studio political analyst Jide Ojo, and also joining us virtually, Ario Dare Atoye, the executive director, Adopt a Goal for Development and co-convener, Center for Liberty, who joins us virtually from Sokoto to give perspectives to this, and also the Oshun forthcoming governorship election. But before we look at Oshun, let's take a few minutes to talk about the interest that the running mate of the APC flag bearer has generated, talking about the same faith ticket. Well, let me welcome you to the Daybreak show, first of all.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Ario, I'm sure that you can hear us from Sokoto.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I can hear you loud and clear.
Well, so let's take your take, Mr. Jide, on the choice of the APC to pick the former Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima as running mate for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It has generated quite a lot of interest. Are you surprised by the interest that this is generating?
I'm not surprised, given the state of our fault lines, the centripetal and the centrifugal forces that has been at play over the decades. But I would say both sides have to exercise caution so that this does not degenerate into something that is unintended. Politicians use ethnicity, tribe, and religion for their own selfish interest. And we should not join that narrative. I am one person that believes your religious persuasion should be personal to you. But those who are making every weather about this, I do also not blame them, because we have fought many religious battles in this country, and we know that even as we speak, there is a lot going on. The insurgency is largely a religious, has a religious intonation, given the fact that Boko Haram is believed to be ideologues who believe in establishing caliphate and wanting to have, Islamic State, so to speak. And ISWAP is Islamic State West Africa province. So to that extent, we cannot overlook the fact that even someone recently said the attack on Owo, as has been admitted by the federal government, was done by ISWAP. And ISWAP will want to get people back home, not wanting to come to church, because they feel that once they created that atmosphere of fear in the churches, people will not go. So that, of course, gives a source of concern. But I also feel that whatever we say, this is just for political expediency. Same-faith ticket is for political expediency, and that's where it ends. We have a balanced, quote and unquote, a balanced ticket right now in Buhari and Oshibajo. Oshibajo is a senior pastor in Redeem, but even under this presidency, we have seen what has happened with people of faith. There is a general belief, or widespread belief, not general, widespread belief that there is a religious persecution going on. And to that extent, but question you ask yourself is, will a balanced ticket, quote and unquote, will it guarantee safety and security of people of faith? We have not seen that happen even under this current situation. Then you go subnational level. In the Southwest, where I am from, out of the 6 states in the Southwest, only 3 as 4 actually have a balanced ticket. Let me put it that way. Lagos is Christian governor, female deputy governor who is a Muslim. Ogun, Christian governor, female deputy. Then Oyo, Christian governor, female deputy. But you go Ekiti and Ondo, it's same faith, Christian. In Osun, which is the only Muslim governor in the entire 17 states of the South, is a Muslim, the only Muslim we have out of 17 states in the South, with a Christian deputy. Now, I recall that in the First Republic in Western region, Awolowo, many may not know, was a Christian. His baptismal name is Jeremiah. And he had a deputy premier in Chief S.L. Akintola, who happens to be a Christian as well. S.L. is Samuel Ladoke Akintola. So you have a Jeremiah as the premier, you have a Samuel as the dominant. And when Awolowo even came to the center, as leader of opposition, Akintola took on another Christian deputy premier.
Yeah, but the argument that some are putting up right now is that the Nigeria of 1993, for instance, or the Nigeria of before 1993,
is no longer
the one that you are talking about, is not the same Nigeria of 2023. So let me let Ario also chip in on this. Why do you think that there's so much interest in the choice of the APC flag bearers running mate?
Again, I think it's important that we need to balance history and to put it in the context of the current reality. To complement what my brother was talking about from the historical reference or references, just like we had Chief Awolowo and who were Christians. In Lagos, we had Baba Jakonde and Jafojo who were Muslims. And there was a time in the Southwest when we had 4 governors who were Muslims and only 2 were Christians. If you situate it in the context of the Southwest alone, religion is not really an issue in the Southwest. Ekiti is almost 90% or more Christians. Ondo, maybe 80 or more. But when you zone, for instance, if the choice of deputy is zoned in Ondo State to maybe Ondo North, there is always a possibility to produce a Muslim. That's where you have the concentration of Muslims. But the moment the choice of deputy or governor is outside of Ondo North, it's always difficult to have a Muslim. So the Southwest has that understanding. Now, don't forget that candidate overwhelmingly elected across the country, including the Southwest. Anambra gave a Muslim ticket. Anambra State in Southeast Nigeria gave Abiola Kingibe. They won Anambra State. That ticket produced over 45% of the vote in the Southeast, yet a Southeasterner was on that ticket. Now, I'm saying this so that we put the issue of historical reference factual perspective. However, what has changed is that since then, Nigeria has sunk into ethno-religious divides. Our fault line since 1993 has widened. And we cannot pretend over that. And fast forward into the General Buhari government, even though Chief Olusegun Obasanjo attempted to play a pan-Nigerian leadership in terms of how he was able to manage his leadership, there was there was little or no concern about ethno-religious persecution or fault lines in terms of ethno-religious concern, because Obasanjo, you could not pin him, to be sentimental when it comes to that, which is actually affecting Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What is the issue? Right from the formation of APC, the issue of ethno-religious domination has been a concern. I want to draw our attention to something very important so that it will help us. Upon the formation of APC, first 11 of the executive were in acting capacity. Most of them were Muslims. I remember Chief Audobe raised this issue with one of the leaders of the party. I'm privy to this because I participated, contributing to the constitutional making and the manifesto of APC. I participated in that process. It was when they said they wanted to register for the party, I said, no, I was not registering. I only participated as a CSO so that we could have mainstream youth initiative and women initiative of the party. That was why I said I was not registering to be, but I participated in a lot of things that happened then during the formation of the APC. Chief Audobe raised this issue about John and all of that, and the leadership said, well, there's nothing we can do about it, that maybe we'll later correct it. Fast forward to when President Buhari emerged candidate of the party, the issue of Muslim thing resurfaced. Thank God Buhari resisted it because Asiwaju wanted to be there this time around. There is something we must understand in the context of the present reality. One opportunity that the APC has lost, because people have talked about Nigerians who, for instance, in the UK today are having an opportunity to contest election, that the Nigerian has even been tipped as one of the people who should succeed Tony Blair. Now, it means that there's what we call inclusion. That means that there is an opportunity to bring the unheard into the government of the United Kingdom. Now, APC has lost an opportunity to bring somebody from from a Christian from the north for the first time into the mix. Asiwaju is a Muslim. For instance, bringing somebody like Alalong or Boss Mustafa would have been had in the north a sense of belonging. That would have been a masterstroke. And for those who said it's about the vote, it's about this, is not true. Because you have a General Mahmoud Buhari who is still the president. You have the national chairman of APC who is a Muslim. APC control most of the governors in the north. The northern states. They are capable of bringing the vote. You see, it's important in the context of national security. And I like the way my brother started. He talked about the issue of the concern over terrorism. So what is the concern about terrorism here? Is the fact that when you look at it in the context of what ISWA, BH, what they are preaching, it's a warped ideology under the guise of caliphate, warped Islamic ideology. I'm in Sokoto. I enjoyed Salah here. I had a lot of Muslim friends. I went to ABU Zaria. I grew up in Kano. I went to the primary school in Kano. But you see, we cannot rule out the fact that extremism today has been elevated to almost an institution in Nigeria. How do you address such? First is about one thing, secularity of Nigeria. If we are going to address this concern, number one is that this is the time to elevate Section 10 of the 1999 Constitution as amended as a major thing in order to douse this concern over an aspect of our country that is gravitating into extremism.
Okay,
so
Mr. Atoye.
A very big opportunity.
Mr. Atoye, you said at the beginning that Nigeria is heavily divided at this point, and that the situation we have now is not the same as 1993. A lot of people agree with you on that. But then some persons in the APC have said that one of the reasons they're even going for a Muslim ticket is to change the narrative, is to show that we're not guided by ethnicity and religion, and that this is the time to change that narrative. What can you say to that?
Well, that's an argument on their part. But when you look at what is happening, we have to talk in the context of reality and not semantic. The reality of the problem, for instance, in the north, we cannot rule out that. that when you look at the North, there have been, for instance, look at Kaduna State. Kaduna State has a profound history of a Muslim Christian. And if you have a Christian governor, you have a minister who's, Muslim governor, you have a minister who's Christian. From the second term of Alhaji Malame Rufai, what have we been having? All Muslims, governor, deputy, the two ministers from Kaduna State Muslim, the speaker Muslim, practical elimination. You see, people do not know that some of these things that we've seen in Kaduna State and other places, and the way President Muhammadu Buhari had composed the composition of his cabinet, especially in terms of some sensitive positions, this were the things that fueled this concern. So it is not just the peak of Ashiwaju that is actually creating this concern. It's a concern that has been there, that has been growing. Ashiwaju ordinarily shouldn't have allowed this, to fuel this thing further, because this has been a major concern. The Buhari administration has been dodged by allegation of Islamization and all of that. Let's also look at our constitution. The combined reading of section 14.2, section 14.3, and section 15, 1, 2, I think 3 and 1, 2, 4, section 15. When you read the combined effect of these sections, you will realize that there is no way anybody, any political organization will read these sections of the Constitution and you want to do what the APC has just done. Because you will see it clearly in that section, in terms of the spirit of that section, that the issue of Muslim or Christian shouldn't have at least arisen at all by the combined, understanding of section 15 and section 44 of the 1999 Constitution.
All right, now let me come back to our guest in the studio, Jide Ojo. How do is there any way, to draw the line between national unity and cohesion and then politics at the same time? Is there any dividing line? Where do we draw the line? How do we balance up? How do we make sure that in the process of, politicking, fault lines, or I would say the issues of unity are not compromised and all of that?
Well, unfortunately, there is a blurred line when you talk about issues of politics and what you call, let me put it this way. Politicians are actually the ones that are fanning the ember of disunity, using religion, using ethnicity, using all these other primordial sentiments. And why did I say so? When you look at the level of marginalization and persecutions that are witnessed by minorities, either in the North or in the South, it is basically because of the political leadership in those areas. Ordinarily, if you follow through with the Constitution, there shouldn't be any fear that you are of certain faith or not. In fact, as we speak, the traditional worshippers are even worse it. I'm not sure anyone can openly claim to be an Ogun worshipper if he's filling his form, because he knows the backlash that will attend to that. We observe Salah break today, yesterday is Salah. If it's Christmas, you get your 2 days, national holidays. But let's look at it. If we talk about rule of law, what is rule of law about? According to Professor A.V. Dicey, he talked about rule of law standing on 3 pillars. Supremacy of the law, that's constitutionalism, equality before the law, and fundamental human rights. You see, no matter the intent, no matter the imperfection of the law, the operators are the ones that give life to those wordings that you see. We talk about issue of federal character. I think that's what my brother Atoye was trying to reference. Issue of national cohesion and national unity, upon which the law says should be held sacrosanct. But yes, the law is there. What is the operation? Or how are the operators of the law? How do they fare?
So you feel that there's some kind of responsibility on politicians and political
On the
parties
political
to
leadership.
demonstrate?
Look, let me give you further statistics. Ordinarily, there should not be fear of domination or Islamization. If actually we look at statistics, even in 2022, we have 36 states, isn't it? In the 17 states of the South, only one Muslim governor, only one. Now, if you had 3 from the North, Benue, Plateau, Taraba, who also have Christian governors, at least I know of those 3, I don't know if there is any other I'm missing. If you add that to the 16 from the South, does it not give you 19? If 19 out of 36, you have them as Christian governors, should you be fearing Islamization or domination or marginalization? But you see, one thing is to have something in law. It's another thing to have it in practice. And that is where this fear comes from. Because even look at the examples I've given. In South, the entire southern Nigeria, in Edo State, Edo North, you have significant number of Muslims from Edo North, isn't it? But Philip Shuabu is a Christian. And he's on the ticket with Obaseki. As the Muslims in Auchi, Agenebode, and the Axis, have they come out to say they are marginalized? If the operators of the system are not, if they are faithful and loyal to the wordings of our laws, nobody should be afraid of discrimination, marginalization, or persecution. But again, where it happens, what has happened to the perpetrators? They've been able to get away largely. And that's where this fear is heightened. Because when you look, even under the Buhari Buhari as head of state, we have today Diagbon, who is a Muslim from Kwara State, and Buhari, who is from Katsina. Muslim. People never really feared maybe their religious identity will come to any harm and all of that. And I have just given you statistics now about even the current number of Christian governors, Christian deputy governors. When you look at all of these very cold facts, you will see that ordinarily we should not have any apprehension about, and that should bring us to the level of who can do the job. I'm not saying we cannot find a Christian that can do the job from the North. But when you look at even the fact that even now that we have a Christian vice president, how much has he been able to even stick out his neck to say, oh, that is the ISWAP attack or the Boko Haram attack is evil? He himself is even afraid to stick out his neck to talk because he serves at the pleasure of his principal.
All right.
Okay, I think that, let's take off from there. Mr. Atoye, he said something that, he said something, and I'm going to go back to what Bishop Kuka said, which we read this morning. He said that the people cannot determine what a party does. A party has the power to do what it does internally. Now, with that in mind, and he also stated clearly that this is a democracy, which meant that people have the power to choose what they want. With that in mind, and the fact that we do not have just one political party, this is just one political party that has made this choice. What do you think Nigerians can do?
Let me also add, what Nigerians can do. Of course, the practicality of it will be that Nigerians will be able to exercise their civic right, in terms of voting for whichever party that they think will be better protect their interests. And this will definitely not be limited to also how the people vote, or they voted, but it's also inclusive of the fact that there are reactions ahead of the 2023 general elections, just like we're doing now. We can't take all of this away. I read, with profound respect, I read what Bishop Kuka, wrote, and I don't, remove anything from it. Well, it's just that we should look at the context of our country. For instance, if in 1993 there was no war against Boko Haram or Islam, it was easy for people to vote for Abiola as Jolly Good Fellow, Muslim ticket. Like I said, who won Anambra State, a Christian state. It was really about the personality, the people who could do it. But we can't see all the reality. And let me also correct one thing. It is not only limited to Nigeria, it's a global concern. In Saudi Arabia today, SBM, the new monarch is trying to open up the country. Women can now drive. A lot of things that women can now do in that state, that country. Israel, the current prime minister, has put in place a more inclusive and more diverse coalition, bringing the Muslim, at least one of the parties with a Muslim presence into the cabinet. We can't take all of this away. At the time that the world is campaigning, for there to be more inclusion, you cannot. For a nation that is fighting terrorism, APC is the ruling party. You have the responsibility for national security, national integration, national unity. We know what is going on across the country. We know the tension that have been happening across the country. For instance, if the presence of Sibajo had given a Christian, let me say 20% of presence, because there's something we are ignoring here. We don't understand that there's you have an access is there. You'll be able to talk to him. So you're going to have a Muslim president in Aso Rock in this present day. You're going to close the chapel in Aso Rock. People used to go there to worship, because the moment the vice president or the president is not a Christian, that chapel can hardly function because of the protocol attached to it. Now you're going to do that, and let me also say this. There is something I read yesterday. President Buhari will spend 8 years as a president, a Muslim. Going to have a Tinubu, maybe is going to spend another 8 years. You this to the north in 2031. Then you want to have a Muslim who's going to spend 8 years. Within the span of 24 years, a Christian, you won't have a Christian president. I've seen that narration. You see, you don't do this as a nation. So every nation must conform to the reality of its existence. And let me also add to what my brother said. Borno is almost 30% Christian. You don't have a Christian deputy governor in Borno State, but there's not really much agitation, because maybe there have been a little bit of representation one way or the other. You see, there is a reality. For instance, you can't say you must have a deputy governor in Anambra State who is a Muslim. No, it depends on the population and significant presence. It's a reality. America, the religious thing is there, from even in the most strategic nations. We can't, what they do, what every serious nation does, is that you look at the reality of our country and what we call under the inclusion concern, and give everybody a sense of concern. Like I said, you do not expect the Constitution of Nigeria to say don't do Muslim or Christian. But the Constitution says, including mentioning religion, ethnicity, tribe, and all of that there should be fairness, so that somebody will look at and say, yes, we have our persons there. Look at the United Nations. The United Nations doing some of the things we had expected it to do, but because when you look at it, you say, okay, we have a presence there and all of that. So that's one thing we need to look at, and I think Nigerians have the right to discuss the APC in the context.
All right. Now, given the fact that we have seen that politicians have constantly used ethno-religious leanings, in their own interest and all of that, do you think that there's a need? Maybe we should begin to talk about some kind of legislation to guide this, embedded in our laws, to actually categorically spell out, these things, so that we do not have politicians all the time having to, raise such concerns.
Yeah, I want to say that laws are made for the people. For instance, some of the things that are in our constitution, even though we did not create or make the 1999 Constitution as a product of maybe constituent assembly, people making contribution. But this is our Constitution. Constitution, the things we find in the Constitution as a result of the concern and problems, gap yearnings of the people. If it has become a serious concern that we want to keep this nation and realize that ethno-religious, to say in their wisdom, they want to put it and say, look, at no point in time shall there be, predomination of, domination of one religion or tribe over the other, even though it's already expressly stated in section 14 and 15. But if you now want to go and expressly now put the word Christian and Muslim, you see, the problem here is this. It means that it's going to be in violation of section 10, which makes Nigeria a secular nation. So here, what we really need is actually just wisdom of the leadership. We had the PDP in power for 60 years. They've been able to balance this out. You will never see at the time when PDP will be caught in this kind of situation that we found ourselves today. The APC must be also very deliberate. You have competent people, competent Christians, competent Muslims. So let's now limit this agitation concern, to ability to deliver. The issue of the minimum, for instance, those who are worrying, saying that no, it shouldn't be Muslim. They are not saying no, bring Christian. They are saying no, let the Christians have a fair representation on this ticket. Inclusion. And for me, someone like me who is fighting for women inclusion, youth inclusion, I don't think now this is the time for a party to create this kind of attention.
Okay,
Maybe in future we will have an opportunity, in such a way that this will no longer be a reality. By the time we have 2-3 administrations that are able to deliver, maybe we will not have this kind of concern.
All right, let me get, on this issue, the final word from Jide Ojo. Do you think that we should be thinking in the direction of legislation to curb some of this?
I still feel that the operators of the system are at fault. It's not, even if you have it written in the legislation, what else do you want to be in the Constitution? Equity, justice, and fairness.
No, maybe if it's stated clearly.
No, okay, you will now state Christian, Muslim, or what?
No, 2 religions, not necessarily
so
one.
that will also sideline people of indigenous faith.
Major religions.
Well, how do you measure major?
No.
The numbers.
You see, this is what we are saying. It's easier said than done. Let's be practical. See, we all know. You asked there is something which I don't know whether he was able to pointedly answer. I like his analysis, and it makes a lot of sense and logic. But I'm a student of politics, and I know that to politicians, all this logic and all this whatever sophistry we may want to indulge in doesn't mean much to them. What means more to them is how to retain power. And if they feel, APC may feel, this is the way to go. Now, what should be the response of Nigerians? You asked that question. There are 18 political parties, possibly 18 presidential candidates. There are other platforms. If you feel that a particular party hasn't accommodated your feelings, you can punish that party at the polls. And that opportunity is there. I think if in no material particular we feel that APC has dug its own grave, then PDP should be happy. Labour Party should be happy that, oh, these mistakes, we can cash in on it and get the votes to our side. But what we need to know, and I'm saying this, I'm not saying it because of any other thing. We can get...
But the concern about that is the response about Nigeria, the thinking about the fact that there are multiple parties for Nigerians to choose from. Wouldn't this have led to a situation whereby Nigerians will now begin to vote, based on religious affiliations? Wouldn't it lead to, a situation where you see maybe a certain religion queuing up behind a certain political party, and all of that? Is that what Nigeria really needs right now?
That's not what we need. I'm only saying that the choice is there for those who feel sufficiently aggrieved that because I am saying, my own argument is this. I'm not in any way disputing the fact that a balanced ticket, not of same faith ticket, is the ideal. I would join that. I would join that argument any day. That's the ideal. But okay, this party has committed what we may call political suicide by not assuaging the feelings of minority. Now, the other alternative for you is to go vote somebody else that you felt aligned with your own thoughts and
let me just take this last question. In the last election, it was reported widely that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu wanted to be the running mate of President Muhammadu Buhari, and that at that time they said a Muslim ticket will not fly. Why would it fly now? What changed?
Now they are in pole position. They are in the incumbent party. As at that time, they were in the opposition. If they had done that, they would never have won. And so now they are at an advantage. 22 states under APC. And you know, when Dare said, it's not about getting the vote, it's just insensitive to our sensibilities. No, it's not necessarily that. It's primarily about getting the vote. If you choose somebody, maybe a Christian, Boss Mustafa, Simon Lalong, or any other person, they may think, I'm not a politician, I'm not a card-carrying member of any. They may think that that will not assuage the feelings of majority of the northern Muslims who they are expecting to vote, and they don't want to lose their votes to PDP.
But again, others, because of our time, we'll have to move away. There are those who argue that that narrative itself is an elitist narrative.
Of course, there is no one train of argument about this.
Exactly, for personal interest and all that.